What am I doing? Okay. So, this is an experiment, as all of my streams are, and I do have monitoring on, so let me turn that off. Um, I basically am a wreck creatively, and I run into these cycles where I'll do a video, and it's about a niche game that no one has ever played, and obviously I shouldn't expect any views on that. But then I'll get really excited about it anyway, and I'll do it and I'll publish it, and then the views will be terrible as predicted, and then I'll go in a kind of a creative spiral. And so that gets me thinking a lot about um, how do we, as YouTubers, as creators, as musicians, as any type of thing, um, make find a purpose or find a theme for what we're doing and then communicate that. And so every so often I'll be on Twitter or other channels and watching the YouTube advice gurus talk about finding your niche and all that kind of sort of thing, and saying like, what's your target audience and what's your value proposition. And it's a really tough question to answer, I think, if you are a musician or a creative type of person, because value proposition sounds like something that would make more sense from a kind of a utility or a how-to channel. Like if you're doing something that is like explaining to people how to do something, then it's very clear the value proposition is if you want to learn how to do that thing, then that's when you would join. But with the music channel, right? It's like, what's the value proposition? Like, come here if you want to enjoy music. Well, everyone likes different types of music, so how do you define that? And so I think that it can be um, there can be a lot of bad ways to answer that question in terms of ways that may not align with the artistic vision that an artist or creative type of person has. For example, with music cover channels, such as my own, it can be easy to say that the value of the channel is nostalgia. It's nostalgia for games that people have played before, and therefore, if you like this game and you liked its music, then you should watch. The problem is then everyone has a different history in terms of the games they've played and the soundtracks that they're familiar with. And so if you're relying on that, then you probably should stick to one game or series or whatever and not stray out of that. But that's not very exciting or interesting to me, I guess. And so I don't do that. And so I guess what that can lead is, maybe having an audience that's expecting one thing, but it may not be the same thing that I'm trying to do or that any kind of musician or artist is trying to do, which is a problem. I mean, I guess it's a problem. Maybe it's not a problem. And so there needs to be a different kind of purpose or reason or whatever to try to get people coming together. And so today, what I wanted to do, and since it's okay if no one joins me for this, I guess, but if people start joining in the middle, they're not going to understand this context. And I don't have the chat up at all, so if people are typing or anything, I have no idea. Um, that YouTube live streaming visual confuses me and enrages me a little bit. So it's a fine, because I think one thing I heard was from someone was that it's better to not have an audience, because that means all of your mistakes you can do them without and disappointing a bunch of people because you're on your own. And so that's what I want to experiment with. I'm doing a lot of things technically that I haven't done before, and so this is not going to be perfect. It's just going to be kind of a work in progress. And what I'm going to try to do, as this title of this one note says, is we're going to try to do some soul searching. I'm going to do some soul searching. I'm going to basically listen to some of my videos, watch some of my videos, and then try to analyze them and try to analyze what I think I was trying to do with them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put them into buckets. And I have like this little whatever this symbol is here, because it gives me 3 buckets to place them in. And I kind of did this on my tablet before, and here's my tablet. But I couldn't like actually share from Samsung Notes, And so I had to recreate this in OneNote because then I can type and then you can see. But the idea is, I think I wanted to do this analysis in terms of um, like uh, TV tropes. And so I'm going to pull up a few things up here so that we can go and discuss them because I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, I can categorize my videos and what I'm trying to do in one or more of 3 TV tropes. And so let's discuss what those are. If I can just get my other monitor, I'm going to pull some of these up. So the first trope I'm going to bring up is the Byronic hero, right? And I'm just going to read this and like, let me be completely honest. I'm not a real literature fiend. I have not really read a lot of Lord Byron works, but just from reading the TV tropes page, I resonated with this a lot. The Byronic hero is a character notable for being sullen, withdrawn, hard to like, and hard to know, but usually possessing a rich inner life and a softer side, accessible only to a special few. So, you know, he based it on himself. This sounds totally like me. I feel like, you know, if I lived back in the 19th century or whatever, like, I don't know, maybe I would like hate this guy, but then like want to be him or whatever. The main thing, rarely a true hero. This character is often more of an anti-hero, an anti-villain, or maybe just a villain. Byronic heroes are charismatic characters with strong passions and ideals, but who are nevertheless deeply flawed individuals who may act in ways that are socially reprehensible, being definitely contrary to mainstream society. The Byronic hero is on his own side and has his own set of beliefs and will not bow or change to anyone. His internal conflicts are heavily romanticized, and you know, he ponders himself and wrestles with his struggles and beliefs. Now, I hope that anyone who actually is watching my channel should feel that this is reflective of several of the types of characters that I analyzed in several of my cover stories. And so as we go through, and hopefully we can do this, I will try to map which of my stories I think fit this trope. And this is one of the 3. What we're going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go back to my second screen and we're going to say that Byronic hero is the first one. And I'm going to zoom way in so that I can get more space because I already know I don't have enough space for what I'm trying to do, but it's going to be fine. So that's the first one. Now, what I noticed when I was on this page was, you know, TV tropes will usually like talk about some of these other tropes that may be similar. And so the one that I was thinking of is a lot of times the Byronic hero is not like a real hero. Like they're like an anti-hero, anti-villain. And that, you know, if you haven't checked out my name, Subversive Asset, like I wanted to capture that, like asset, but subversive. Like there's something like, you know, subversive, it's under, you know, whatever. And so the other thing I wanted to think about though is what if you, instead of having a hero that like defies the norms of heroism and it's like more of an anti-hero, what if you had like a villain that defied the norms of villainy? And so the next one I'll point out is Draco in leather pants. So let me open that up and we can go through that one for a little bit. So let me read some of these. Draco in leather pants is when a fandom takes a controversial or downright villainous character and downplays their flaws, often turning them into an object of desire and or victim in the process. This can cause conflicts if the writers are not willing to retool the character to fit this demand. You know, they're frequently, I don't know if I want to go in here. They're frequently the love object of the local author avatar who uses the power of love to redeem the character. I can fix him is a commonly expressed sentiment among fans of Draco in leather pants. But the problem is that these are actually still villains. And so I think that the relevant part for what I'm trying to do is when I have these types of these characters is I try to go into what is their psychology, what made them villains, and how can we take something or someone that seems like just unredeemable, irredeemable evil and say like there is a reason for this, there is like a motivation for this that justifies all of this. So over here on the second one we're gonna have Draco in leather pants. So we are going to have some stories, I think, that are going to fit in terms of Byronic Hero, some that are going to fit in terms of Draco and Leather Pants. But what goes down here? Did I have soul searching? Yeah. What goes down here? Okay. So I was thinking these still deal with like the protagonist and the antagonist respectively. But the third one is like I needed something that is like for characters who aren't really that relevant in the story. Because sometimes I just feel like I'm not the hero, I'm not the villain, I'm just some random person. But random people have relevance too. And so I don't have a way of getting straight to here from there. But when I did this before, I think the one that I want is NPC Ensemble Dark Horse. Oh shoot. Well, okay. Ensemble Dark Horse, and we'll make it work. So in this, I love the quote for this because I think this is relevant. Character creator, if oh shoot, you can't read this. Let me go back to here so you can read this. Ensemble Dark Horse. If we play our cards right, we could have a whole fandom on their knees producing a mountain of content for a character that has less than 5 lines of dialogue. Intern, maybe even less. Character creator. Oh, I like you. And that is what I try to do. I try to take the character that has very little dialogue in the actual story, or is this totally irrelevant, and say, what if I could take their whatever we see from them and whatever we see from the context of the game and flesh them out even more. And so I think for the last of our 3 tier placements that we could put is going to be, and I'll put it in parentheses because this wasn't really part of the article, Ensemble Dark Horse. Okay, so these are our 3 that we're trying to group all the videos in, and if I find something that doesn't fit in any of them, then it's going to be really sad. I'm going to have a midlife crisis about it. It's going to be very sad and disappointing and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully this works. I did this before with some things, but we'll see. So what I did next was I went into my YouTube studio and I downloaded all my videos. So I have that in an Excel. If you were not aware, in my day job, I am a gigantic nerd. Used to be in accounting, now I'm in consulting. So I switched from Excel to mostly PowerPoint, and I need to get my Excel back. So now I only do this for fun. And what I did was I took of all my videos, it's sorted in terms of number of views. That's the order I think we're going to be going into. And I wanted to see which of those are cover stories and which of those are not. And it was actually interesting because I don't have a consistent titling for each of these. Generally, if I use the sax icon, then yes, it's going to be a cover story, but sometimes it just has the word sax and not. So I didn't use the left bracket, and then sometimes like I didn't have a left bracket, but I've kind of gone through very weekly and I've gone through yeses and nos, and I haven't gotten all of them. So let me just go through the ones that are blank. And if I were like really caring about this, I would do like some sort of formula that would be like, if this character is found, then it's a yes. If not, then no. But I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So these are the ones I hadn't gotten through yet. So I'm just going to go like, yes, obviously these are. And the funny thing is, actually, when I first started this channel, I didn't do the stories. I just did the music and didn't actually continue with the story. And so when we go through these, some of these may not actually have stories, and I'll have to like change them. So I'm going to go through all of these are yes. Okay, good. Like we're going to get into some. I think I caught all the ones that weren't. Yeah, like that one is, this one is not. It is a story, but it is not a video game one, so it won't make sense. Now, these are some of the ones that were really old. So there was no story. I don't think there's a story to this one. This is an original song. This is not video game music. This is definitely one. I like this one. This one, maybe. That could get us in trouble. And then these ones, yes, yes. No, this was before that time. Original piece. Yes. And then no. What's disappointing to me about this is I did this as a filter in terms of the number of views. And so some of these, like these are some of my favorite, but they're at the bottom of the list because no one watched them. And so I guess, you know, that's my punishment here. So let me see what I can do. This YouTube live streaming thing is so annoying because I can't like actually see anything, but whatever. I'm gonna then what I'm gonna do is I think what it makes sense to do is have a filter for all the ones that are yeses, I guess. And then we'll just start from the top, right? So I'm gonna start with King DDD's theme, and hopefully I won't cringe too much at going over my old videos because that would be disappointing. So let me see if I can pull up my channel. And then find King DDD's theme. Okay, DDD. Okay, cool. Okay. King without a mask. Okay, so I'm gonna guess that depending on if I'm focusing on DDD as a villain or as a unwittingly possessed guy, he's either gonna be Byronic Hero or Draco in Leather Pants. How do you take the throne when everyone sees you as a jester? Could be a defense for a villain, or could be someone who believes himself to be a hero, but no one else sees him the same way. Sounds pretty villainous to me. Oh, wait. I have to have this in not full screen mode because it makes sense. Okay, so in the early days, DDD was seen as a villain because in like one of the games, it's like, oh, I'm gonna steal all the food of Dreamland. But then in the next game, or like one of the next games, he's like destroys the Star Rod, which turns out to be a tool of evil. So like it's the inciting event for everything. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm really happy that that is one of my most watched. It is the most watched video. In terms of putting this into categorization, I think that we can say that I mean I don't think that other than stealing all the food in Dreamland, I don't think DDD really fits in terms of like a Draco and leather pants. I'm gonna put him here, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that there. Okay, so then we need to do the second one, Noble Haltman theme. So I'm gonna go and pull up that one, and we can go into the next one. Clever green greens call out there. Okay, so in this in Planet Robobot for Kirby, love this story. So you have the mechanizing occupation project. The villains are trying to just turn all of nature into robotic, mechanical, whatever. But it's there's a reason, there's a justification. It's the president Haltman is trying to, find his estranged daughter who's been lost to the the cruel and harsh universe. And in this course, he's in built a pact with Star Dream that says, if you only give me your memories, then I can help you find your family. And so Star Dream does exactly what was expected, finds his daughter for him, but he's lost his memories and cannot recognize her. And this is wow, just beautiful. I'm gonna put this as for our second screen. This is kind of like father daughter issues, mommy issues, that kind of thing. And so I'm gonna say that both Susie Altman, who is the girl, and CEO Haltman are in the Drakeland Leather Pants group, and I'm gonna put them closer to this NPC ensemble Dark Horse, because I think while you do engage Susie and then you engage, like, they're kind of in the back, and then Star Dream is the big bad, but like it's kind of in the background, and so this is adding a lot more to what's in those stories. So I do like that. It has definitely inspired a lot of other things. Man, this is really explaining why Kirby's up in the top here, but we're gonna get to some of these other ones, I promise. And what I'm trying to show, what I would like to show, is that even though there's a lot of people who are probably only watching my channel for the Kirby's, that these themes will come true in some of these other ones. So we can have both things, all the things. Okay, so the last one is 02 remix. Well, we're not the last one. The last one before, in this row of Kirby, before we skip one and join another, it's going to be the 02 theme remix. So if I can go back and select that one for a second. Of course it wouldn't make sense since I'm not searching for Kirby. I'm gonna have to search for all these. Let me do this. Kirby. And then get my 02 theme right. Story of Alienation. So it's either going to be Byronic Hero or it's going to be Draco in Leather Pants. It's alienated from mainstream society. So what's interesting about this story is I did a lot of like actual physics research, and I'm not saying I'm a physicist, and this is like not going to be consistent with physics, but I wanted to like find a way to make the weird fantasy stuff happening in the Kirby universe plausible with like a science fictional fantasy kind of environment. And so this is the story that I have knit together for that. Okay, so the main thing here, and definitely encourage you to check that piece out since I switched over to this view for a little bit, is it is a cover of Zero Two's theme, but it is from the perspective of the Shiver Star Research Reactor team, which is not at all in the game. Although, what I try to do here is there is some speculation in terms of the lore, and I'm definitely diving deep into the lore of a children's game made for kids by, you know, whatever, of one of the stages looks suspiciously and mysteriously like it could be a frozen wasteland of Earth. It was Earth. You've watched all the Shiver Star mystery, and if you haven't, you should. Plenty of people have documented this and talked about this, and I fully support the theory, the hypothesis. And so I wanted to tell a story about what it might have been like to have researched, you know, the progressing science and progress and so on and so forth, and then discovering that the void, the darkness of matter, speaks back at you. And this is going to be a very consistent theme, I think, in a lot of these Kirby videos. And so I'm going to say that Zero Two is just some guy who, you know, misunderstood, exploited by people who didn't understand him. And then the Shiver Star research team, definitely the non-playable character ensemble, Dark Horse for that one. Okay, so if we go back, I'm going to go to my, let me just mark that I've done these. And then we're going to go to Undertale. I don't know if this actually has a story. So if this doesn't have a story, then I can't put it in one of the categories. But if it does have a story, then I will. But we can listen to it either way as like the kind of, you know, nice little intermission here. And so let me go over there to It's Raining Somewhere Else. If I could type with one hand, that'd be great. This was before the stories, I already know it. Yes, so this, as soon as I opened it and saw the little intro, I knew that it wasn't a part of the cover story project. It was before I did the stories. And, while I still like those, I think it would be interesting. Like, what if I redid that? And whose story would I tell? What would I tell for that? But as of now, I mean, it doesn't get on the leaderboard or whatever we're calling this because there is actually no story to it. So it can't actually go into one of those three. But it can keep going to the next one. The next one is going to take us back to Kirby for a bit. And so let's go to Magalor's theme, Magalor Soul theme. Magalor. If I could type, it would be great. So in this, we have our adventurer prince who wants to be a king, who wants to take the crown of his ancestors, the ancients. And this connects with the story series that I have here. It is that viewing the universe as impersonal in a science fictional, fantastic universe brimming with energy, with life, is probably not a good thing, right? You probably want to, respect that consciousness flows through everything. And so, of course, not respecting that is going to upset things and upset the balance. So if we get back here, I'm going to say Magalor's supposed to be a villain, right? But we're going to say that he is Draco in leather pants. Magalor. Now, this is going to be pretty consistent, I think. It's DDD is the one guy who kind of came over on the other side here. So that's great. Okay, so if we go to our next one, what is our next one going to be? We're now getting into another little bit of a break, detour through Homestuck. And this is a crossover with Deltarune. So it's maybe not a full video game cover story, but at least half of it is. So we're going to count it. So let's see what we have here. If we go to our Homestuck. Let me see. I need to do Carnival for this one. I like this one. I think that it was an experiment in trying to blend themes from Homestuck with themes from Deltarune. I think I have a series called something like Deltarune is a Homestuck, something like that. And I think that I can show that. But what that means is that the story has to assume that people have not necessarily heard of both or either, and has to walk them through that. And so these themes that come through, I think they also reflect and they work with some of the themes that we've heard from some of the other pieces. The nature of reality, the whether one can maintain one's sanity or insanity, or what do those terms even mean without a certain context to situate them in. And they also play off the idea of, obviously these are from video game media and so on and so forth, but the characters don't necessarily think that they're in a game, or they don't think that they're in a webcomic or whatever. And what does it take to kind of break that fourth wall and be able to see the confines of the medium that you're in and be able to play around with that, right? And so I think this is something that, from a hero's perspective, this often looks like you have this hero that's super powered, that can, come back from the dead, that can turn back time. And if you can see that this is function of the medium that you're in, then you can also take that and, have shenanigans and all that kind of sort of thing. So I think that what this shows, if I can switch over, is that really classifying these guys is a little bit difficult, right? Like hero versus villain versus NPC are all kind of wishy-washy. So I'm going to actually put this as right in the middle. DMZ is from Homestuck. And we're going to say that, Jevil is a villain, but he is a, he's not, very far there. And that's we're going to get for the carnival and the circus. What do we have next? I think we return back to Kirby. This is going to be from I think Triple Deluxe. I do back. And a purpose you were destined for. I would give my life if you had asked me to. But this hatred in your heart, bum-ba-dum, leaves me feeling like I've lost you through and through. Queen Victoria, with my heart I will be living now for two. Let's be I were waiting here for you. Okay, so this is for the folks who've been paying attention to the Kirby aspects. Let me go ahead and switch this over to my my second screen here. It's actually the parallel from our first piece. Who was the guy doing the possessing? It was Taranza, right? So he's supposed to be the villain, right? But he has a point. He is just smitten in love. And so I'm actually going to move Taranza a little bit because Taranza is just kind of like in the back for, with this stuff with Sictonia. Let me see if I can select Taranza here and move him down closer to the NPC Ensemble Dark Curse. That's what I'm going to put him at for today. And again, there's these themes of that I think should be coming somewhat clear, and I'll probably have to summarize these, is the idea of nobility, royalty, seeking after status, and viewing people and judging people based on status, and how that ends up causing corruption or causing miscommunication. First, in the sense of, obviously, Taranza's feeding into Sictonia's need to become royalty, that sort of thing, and giving her all the things that would help her become a queen, obviously led to her corruption. But also in the sense of, he is trying to find who are the rulers of all the lower realms so that she can defeat them and therefore her reign can be unimpeded. And so he believes mistakenly that is the king, DDD, when really it is the peasant, the civilian, the not royal, no title to his name, Kirby. And that's what happens when you judge and second guess and all this kind of things. So that one is that. So let's see if we can continue on. What do we have next? I actually am gonna skip Steven Universe. I'm gonna say this is not a cover story. I don't think I do that one, and it's not like video games. So I'm gonna say this is not. Actually, there is a story, but we're gonna skip it anyway. Actually, if there's a story, we're gonna keep it. So let's see what we have here. Even though it's not a video game, we're gonna go along with it. So I'm gonna go with like you. If I could type with one hand, that'd be great. was worth it. That was worth it. Okay, so what I would say here is, um, I feel like Rose Quartz is the quintessence of Draco in leather pants. For the revelations that happen, I'm gonna just put her right all the way over there, and then I will say everyone else in Steven Universe. And what I'm gonna do is, let me see. Can I make this smaller? Yes, I can. Shrink this down. Can I shrink this down? I can. Shrink this down. Oh. Uh-oh. I have cut a few extras. Okay, so that goes pretty comprehensively. It goes like everyone else. They may be villains, they may be heroes, they may be. I'm not gonna say. I'm actually make this diamonds. I hope this is not spoiling anything, but I'm gonna put that over here, right? But yeah, sounds good. So then let's see. We can keep going. If I keep going, then where is? Oh, my mouse is now stuck with my monitor. Okay, I'll move that over here. Good. Okay, so we're gonna have Romancing Saga. I don't know, based on the timing of this, I think there's no story to this, and I would really like to redo this one because I do think there should be a story to this, but I don't think so. So I think this is going to be another break for us where there's not going to be putting it into a bucket because I don't think it has one. But let's see. I do like Katrina's theme, so I think we'll put it on as an intermission. Okay, so that was indeed no story with that, so it won't go onto our leaderboard, our soul searching board here. But it's still nice as an intermission, so I think I am okay with that. So let's go back and see what's next on our list. We have. I feel like I only started doing the stories after a certain period of time. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm actually going to say this is not. And I'm going to say, I don't think I did a story for Carcat. I don't think so. I think that's just going to be another intermission. I think that's going to be another not, but we will go there anyway, just to see. Pretty sure it's. Okay, so I did do a theme for Karkat's theme. So I think that this actually is a nice little foil for some of the themes that we've seen in some of these other ones, where a lot of these are characters who believe that they need to have like royalty and status, and they need to have all these things to be effective. And when they get it, they are corrupted. And Karkat represents kind of like the opposite, where he also believes the same thing, that there is a definite kind of, how do we want to say it, like a stratum, stratification of their society, a caste system based on blood, and he is not near the top. And so he thinks this means that he cannot do anything because of it. But in fact, it makes him the most able to navigate this without falling prey to, he's the most able to critique that system and then to work with it. So what we're going to say here is that in terms of our second screen, he is going to fit in terms of our Byronic hero. Very, very moody. And, yeah, he's going to fit there. Okay, so then we're going to go into our next one, which is Harvest Moon Back to Nature, Winter. Let's see. I can't type with one hand. Okay, I got to make sure I'm doing Winter from Back to Nature because I have a few of these actually. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm trying to find the song. This is like uh a one for one retelling of a different song that I really, really, really like. And I'm just trying to make sure that I get the right artist name. Kevin Gilbert, T for One. It's about a guy who's like, shy and introverted and all that kind of stuff. And he, looks afar at the, lady of his dreams, right? And but he's just looking from afar. And so he's trying over the course of this song to get the courage to stand up and to, ask her out or do whatever. And by the time that he does, it's actually, I guess it's a little creepy because he like finds out where she lives, like is trying to go to there with like, you know, flowers or whatever. But when he looks inside her house, he sees like she's already taken and is, you know, having fun with some other guy or whatever. And so that is literally this, but retold with Harvest Moon, where the farmer, the main character, has a rival for each eligible bachelorette. I think now you can like, I don't know if they have the gay relationships now, but at the time it was you had the, you know, opposite sex, whatever. And so yeah, very tragic. If you do not successfully woo your person over, then they can, you know, get married to a competitor, you know, the rival or whatever. And so that's what happened here, and very sad, but whatever. So we're gonna say the farmer is, you know, very tragic, very moody, introspective. We're gonna say Harvest Moon. Farmer. Harvest Moon. Farmer. Very different than what you would expect just from watching the game, though. It's not a traditional typical hero. It's someone who is, you know, really introspective and, you know, plays the guitar and, or I guess sax or whatever, and, you know, very moody, right? Great, fantastic. So that's that one, and we can then go back to our list. Okay, so if I go to the next one, we're gonna have Air of Grief from Homestuck. Let me see if I can. You know what? There's a smarter way to do this. This is the video link. I don't need to search for it. I can just copy it. Great. Okay, so that's interesting. I mean, I think what you'll see, hopefully, and if you're not a Homestuck, let me tell you about Homestuck. No, basically, the main thing I'll say is lots of characters, lots of plot points, lots of stuff going on, and this actually alludes to a lot of everything that happened in the entire series. And so you'll notice that there's a lot of different colors that are kind of used for certain words throughout. Those are all relevant. They all align with particular characters. And so this is actually a way of saying if we go back to our screen here, it's all the characters. And so they're going to fit all over. And so I'm going to like actually put this as, let me move out of the way there. Every Homestuck. So this is kind of similar to the Steven Universe one, except it's going to be every Homestuck right there. Okay, so then if we continue, I think, what is our next one going to be? Our next one is going to be Undertale, Enemy Approaching. And I'm pretty sure I didn't do stories for these. So let's just see. I don't think I did stories for any of these. So I'm actually going to skip these. I'm going to say these are not, because we already did that for It's Raining Somewhere Else. I think I say these are not. I actually feel like if I looked at the date, I could figure out which was when I started. But I know the first one I did that had a story, but it didn't actually. Whatever. I think May 7th, 2016 was also not. I think Kirby's going to be the next one that is actually a story. Not say that these are not good. I just these are three that I think we're going to skip. Okay, so we're going to go to Green Greens by copying this guy over here. Okay. Yes, so this is definitely playing off the Kirby anime, as the last line especially pointed it out. But I feel like uh, Nightmare and the anime kind of series doesn't get a lot of. I mean, obviously, it's not, super consistent with the games always, but I think that makes it very interesting to think about that. So there were a lot of accounting and business terms in that one, which it was, if you didn't quite catch that. So I'm actually going to say that this is going to be another one where it wasn't really focused on Nightmare as like a villain of a particular game, but it's focused on kind of an NPC, kind of the Nightmare Enterprises, that we don't really see. And so I'm actually going to put this as the hero of this show is Nightmare Enterprises, and it's not just anyone. It's their Goodwill Impairment team. Oof. This makes no sense if you're not an accountant, but that is extremely relevant here. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I may need to answer a ping over for briefly. So let me see if I can answer a ping. Yes. Get some dinner. But I don't have like one of those pause screens or whatever. So what I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna actually go back and play one of the pieces that I said I wasn't gonna play. Well, actually, no. I think we can use Snowy as the break, because I'm pretty sure this was all before the story period. So I'm gonna take a little bit of break because this is not gonna need any analysis to put in a dinner order. Oof. Okay, so the dinner order hasn't happened yet, but it could happen at any time. It could be now, or it could be now, or it could even be now. Oh, I just got a ping from Facebook. It's gonna be now. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I am pretty sure this has a theme, but I think I can still take my order and let y'all listen to this one. Okay, so that one will come later. Main thing I want to say here is, yeah, this is actually not a cover story, and I just want to scroll up the top. The column C is whether it's a cover story or not. And so the main thing here is it's not just about the music; it's about if there's a story along with it. And so this is actually for something in January of 2017. Feels a little late for me to not be writing a story. So I must have gotten really lazy there and decided not to do it with that one. And so we're going to put that there. And so because there's no story, it does not go on our little chart of what type of story it is. But what I will do, just briefly, is go back to this list and see what we have here. So we have our three categories: our Byronic Hero, Draco and Leather Pants, and then NPC Ensemble Dark Horse, as based off of the illustrious TV tropes. And it feels like a lot of them are kind of in the middle, but that, very slightly, there's more in the Draco and Leather Pants. It looks like there's a lot in Ensemble Dark Horse just because I've wrote a lot of words to describe them, but this is like 1, and this is 2. Whereas this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's like 1, 2, 3. And then a lot in this kind of cluster here. So where will Cobalt Thief go in terms of the next song from Homestuck? Let's see. I'm gonna put this in, switch over. Yeah, we can see the instinct. Okay, so this one actually goes along with, I think, the theme in terms of a lot of these, which is the idea of, again, nobility, royalty, and I want to connect it, I think, thematically to something else of an idea of privilege or grace or having gifts that are given to you that you did not earn or deserve. And I think that in Vriska's case, this is reflected in terms of the obsession with fortune or luck, which in the Homestuck universe is also talked about in terms of light relevance, in terms of, from a story perspective, you have this idea of plot armor, which is really you're so relevant to the story that you are immune from harm, right? And so from the story perspective, we call it plot armor. But from within, if you're not aware of the fourth wall, you just say you've got lucky breaks and you're lucky and that sort of thing. And so the idea here as well is, even though she's done terrible things and she's ruthless and she's, all these sorts of things, it's because of this still very plot relevant kind of, the universe that they've grown up in has been built that way as a result of previous actions. And so the way that they all grow up is not completely free choice. It is also, some things are just a matter of what is given, and that is luck, whether good luck or bad luck. And so the way that people react to that isn't free either, right? It's a, you do have a choice in how you react to what you're given, but people may not always appreciate, the choices made, I guess. So I want to go here. And I think that we're going to put Vriska in terms of Byronic Hero and Draco in leather pants. Somewhere here, right? Vriska. Could go either way. Right? So then, with that, let's see what I have next. We're going to put that there. I'm fairly sure that Moonsetter was before the cover. Oh, it should be green. It's before the cover story series in 2015. So I'm going to say not. I'm going to make this orange. What I'm actually going to do, I really should have like conditional formatting where the entire robe goes that color if I say this is not, but whatever. We're going to go to Gold Pilot next, which from 2018, I'm pretty sure we did, in fact, have a cover story for that. So let's do Gold Pilot.
I'm trying to put out.
Wow. Okay, so not gonna have you listen to my little blabbering at the end, but love this piece, and it's actually interesting that the if I can switch over to my thing. While there are the main characters here, I have to actually like put them in a different way. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna actually draw something over the entire thing, and then I'm gonna move it. Can I move it all over? Yes, no, yes, no, no. It won't let me do this. Okay, so let me do that. Can I move it all over? Yes, no. Okay, yes. Okay, cool. And then I'm gonna take these. I'm gonna take these, and then move those to be approximately there. Okay, cool. Okay, so now I have a lot more room, and I can also draw this line up here and draw this line up here. So I'm going to say overall theme here is that bosses are up here, and we're going to say burnout is over here, and we're going to say yeah, definitely unexpected. Hustle culture is the NPC here. And these are represented by, it's really tough. The guy who's the, psychic guy is the psionic. Shoot, now I'm going to need to look up how to actually write this out because I don't know Greek. Psionic, yeah, I think, yeah, that's how you write that one. And then 2 eyes. Nick. And then the boss is her imperious condescension. And so this is, by the way, oh my gosh, let me tell you about Homestuck, guys. In the last one where we were talking about how Vriska is that way and is in this rough and hostile society because of events that happened before that have orchestrated this entire narrative. This story actually created the foundation for that, right? So bosses, as represented by her imperious condescension, are telling everyone what to do and have their fingers in several sinister soups, and then everyone else suffers as a result of it. So you have the psionic, who is the workhorse, the guy behind everything happening, but as a result, he literally burns out, loses all of his senses because he just goes too hard. And I don't want to do that. Let me do unzo. And then so you have hustle culture is the didn't expect I could do a cover story about hustle culture, did you? But that is why it's the ensemble dark horse that you don't see about. So that is Gold Pilot. Man, I like that. This is great stuff. Let me undo that. I don't want to do that. Okay. Let me. Oh, I am now typing random things in. I'm going to add in the little that sign. Okay, so then that was good. That's in. Again, Undertale, almost entirely sure that I wasn't doing any cover stories this long ago, so that's going to be in the no column, right? That's going to go into the not. And then, okay, so we're going to have another Homestuck Hive Swap where a lot of the same themes are going to come true as what we've been doing in all the other Homestuck ones. So yeah, I guess if I had to summarize the Homestuck, it's like this economic sociological commentary. So we'll see here how this goes for our characters. Oh, I do want to stick on the screen.
I'm not afraid the blade that will strike me. The blades will cut through to myself. Won't be the time can I leave my stories, veins bearing unwanted bronze blood.
It's interesting, I think. These pieces like did not. Let me, if I can go back to my Excel for a moment. These pieces are very well. No, actually, they were like a week apart, so it makes sense why the themes are very similar between these. So in actuality, I mean, obviously, clearly, like a week apart. So I was like, wow, did I write that so far away from that? No, they're very close together, actually. So if we go back here, the themes are basically exactly the same, except I will want to say that our heroes not just burn out, but selling out. And then we have Chixie as our hero here. And the enemy is bosses, but also kind of like, what do we call it? Like market demands or whatever. And then hustle culture is still our ensemble dark horse here. So we have all of those. Okay, so then I again do not think that we have anything from Undertale. This shows me that I probably should redo the Undertale ones with a story. But I think we're going to go into Drossia, Sorceress. I can get my right screen here. Okay, so this one is very interesting because if you're paying attention to the Kirby story, if you're not familiar with it, like it probably won't matter. But if you are, then you'll have probably recognized that this does not follow the plots of the games that much. And so what I try to do, and I really need to get back to it at some point, is I wanted to retell the story, kind of an alternate narrative. And so the main hero of this is actually one that we saw earlier before, but in a very different context. Susie Haltman, who is we put in the Draco and Leather Pants, is now the hero who is trying to find her way back into the regular dimension from another dimension. And so she goes through all these magical and other places to get there. So we can think of it as there was a piece in this original story where as a young girl, she was with her father, and then she got lost to the mysteries of the universe. And the father is trying to find her, and then she reappears, but the father can't remember her. And this is an imagining of what might have happened in that time period, and it's trying to link it to some of the other games and things like that. So definitely like having her be there. So I'm going to go ahead and note that this goes, I'm sure no one will be able to pay attention to those arrows of the me, but it's the same person, just crossover. So I do have food over on the side, so I might just start eating during some of these, but I'm going to keep going for a few of these. That we can continue with, I believe this is going to be another Deltarune is a Homestuck. So let's see this one. Okay, so this one, another kind of retelling, so that if you're not familiar with either Homestuck or Deltarune, it's kind of like mixing the two together, if it were. And so there isn't really a focus in terms of a core main character. And so I don't know if we like say that that means like it's everything. It's like the entire theme. Um, yeah, I think it's like we could say that this is like an example of like the overall plot of Delta Stuck. That's what I'm gonna call it. That's an ensemble dark horse if I didn't see it, if I if I ever saw one. Okay, so then we can go into Hyperlight Drifter, Cult of the Zealous. I think this is a good one. This is a fun one. Let's go. Let me make sure I'm off mute back. Well, for this, this one's an interesting one. Okay, so the story was up in the front, and then the second part really didn't have it. So the main kind of theme I wanted to explore here is um, the developer main guy like wanted like he I think has like heart disease, and so like he wanted to have this story that kind of captured the hyperlight drifter has this illness and he's trying to like explore the world and all that kind of stuff while he suffers like visibly at times from this. And I wanted to then compare this of obviously a heart is like a physical organ, but it has often been likened to um, emotions, that sort of thing, and in the past as well to thought. And so this is an exploration again of like mind, heart, all that kind of stuff, and all of those things can be off kilter. All of those things could be disease. And how do you cure a sickness of the heart? That's right. How do you explore a sickness of the heart? That sort of thing. So in terms of stories and in terms of how to put this on here, I think that definitely from a core perspective of the main character, the drifter is the Byronic hero, silence and suffering internally, right? And I think that's a pretty straightforward placement to put for him. So if we keep going, our next one is going to be another of the Delta Stucks. I think this might be the last Delta Stuck for a while. So let's go into this. This is so difficult to describe. How do I do this? Okay, so again, it will make a whole lot of sense if you know both Homestuck and Deltarune. And so let me try to unpack this. As we discussed in some of the previous ones in our list, let me look at the ones. I think Cobalt Thief, especially. Vriska is a character who, in our kind of mundane or peasant to regal royalty nobility kind of landscape, she wants to be on that noble side, and she does this through the concept of relevance light, fortune, all those types of things, which in the Homestuck universe is tied to kind of plot, like as a narrative structure. Plot armor is because you are more relevant, as it were, that sort of thing. And then other characters fall out of the wayside into irrelevance. And so this is then contrasted and contradicted against Deltarune, which also has this kind of darkness versus light theme, where of course your main characters are the light nerds who are going into the dark world and that sort of thing. And I think that the insight here is that by going into the dark world, they have these personas that they kind of embody. They're heroes here to save this world, but in the light realm, they're just like students who don't really know what's going on in their lives, don't really have much going on for them. And so it's an exploration of, is having that purpose, that relevant, is that really something that one should be doing? Or is it okay to be irrelevant? Is it okay to not have a set path? That sort of thing. I have no idea how to characterize this. Because we could say that the theme of that was the, who's the Deltarune? Does Deltarune main character even have a canonical name? Delta, I don't even think Deltarune. I think Chris, is that right? Chris, is that right? Yeah, Chris. Okay, so we're gonna say Chris is definitely the Byronic hero here, edging on the border of NPC, right? That's the idea. Even though quite literally the main character, but that's the thematic twist, as it were. Okay, so with that, I want to go to the next one. Is going to be, oh, we just did this one. Okay, good. Another one from Hive Swap. Hive Swap. Oh, I'm in the wrong screen. Hive Swap. Let me look at the date, the timing on this one, because I'm just very interested in September of 2017, and then these ones were from August of 2018. It feels like all these, like, oh, Homestuck. Oh, yeah, the Homestuck, High Swap. These are all kind of thematically related, I think, and I think we have already kind of drawn them on the page. So actually, I feel like I need a different way. I put this all up in the top here, like the burnout, selling out, bosses, market demands, and then hustle culture. And so here we have Zephyros, who is our punk singer, who is interrupting uh, this person's, broadcast with the, revolution and all that kind of stuff. Um, so not sure how that will work out for them, but dun, dun, dun. Okay, so then we have our next one, which is going to be a Saga Frontier 2 piece called Schlacht. And people who like know German are going to like cringe. Like, what was that? Okay. Okay, so there's some definite themes that are coming through that I feel like I'm gonna actually need to uh, go on my little screen here. I write something out to the side because this has come up a few times. Oh, can I not write down another? I'm gonna add another page here. I'm gonna say this is just part two. This is connected. there's a theme of grace or, gift or talent vs hard work or like hustle, hustle, right? And this is where we have seen the high swap covers, and this is where we saw this one as well, Saga Frontier 2. And the idea here, which I really like from Saga Frontier and the Romancing Saga series, which I'm going to actually go back in the last one and say this, the theme of this is ooh, this is also hustle culture, saga, art sparking. So there's a core gameplay mechanic in basically every Saga game. Saga Frontier, Saga Frontier 2, Romancing Saga 1, 2, 3, all of that, which is that there aren't necessarily conventional levels. It's you use certain skills to build on those, and you every time you use a certain basic skill, you have an opportunity to spark or learn the another skill accordingly. Now, here's the fun thing. The guy who does the Saga game, I think the designer game, I'm going to mangle these names. Let me Google this so I can get this just right. I want to say Akitoshi Kawazu. Akitoshi Kawazu. That's what I want to say. Yep, that's right. So he did Final Fantasy 2. So a lot of people hate Final Fantasy 2 because it has the same thing where, to learn how to use a certain weapon, you just have to use that weapon, and to build up your HP, you have to get hit a lot, like that sort of thing, right? And he basically has been refining this over time, and his main philosophy was he didn't want things to be always explained. You'd have to explore to find these things out. The frustrating thing is, like, these Romancing Saga games can be like the TV tropes page, I think, is called Guide Dang It. If you don't have a guide, like, you can miss things and you'll never figure it out. And so one of the fun things about, and by fun I mean horrifically upsetting things about some of the Saga games, is there are certain talents or certain traits of certain characters where they can only learn things that are within their talent or within their personality type. And so if they don't have the talent to spark a certain art, it does not matter how many times you try, they will not ever learn it. And unless you read a guide, you won't know who has what talent. And you won't know what is the likelihood for them to spark that. And so you can be trying over and over. If it's the wrong character, it won't work. They'll never learn it. And so this is where I think that there's often a discussion, especially in creative communities, which it is becoming a common theme. I don't know how to put it on the other page, of grace or giftedness or talent versus hard work and hustle and practice, where a lot of creative people will want to say, well, it's all about hard work, right? And so I, wasn't born learning how to play music, and I wasn't born learning how to play art, and there's no gene for those things. I started with stick figures and with bad sound, and over time with practice got to where I am. And so when people say, oh, you're so talented, I could never do that, it's like, well, you could. If you spent all of those years in practice, you could get there. And so people, I think, want to then say it's not about luck or about grace or about gifts or about talent. It's about hard work and hustle. And some people put in the 10,000 hours and some people don't. But I think that what this piece is trying to say, and it's something I do like to explore a lot, it's in all the Hive Swap covers, it's in this one for Saga Frontier 2, is that these things work together. In the sense that if, like, talent or grace or gift or whatever you want to call this unearned component is a force multiplier. And if you don't have that, you can't just pull yourself up by your bootstrap. You need to have the gift, and then you build off of that gift. And I think there's a lot of things that are considered gifts, and I feel like completely discounting it is a miss. It is a hubris that we need to have the humility to acknowledge that there are some things that we did not earn, that we didn't do anything to deserve, that we got for free, right? Even if that doesn't discount the hard work that we do. But I think that the example here is a character who does not have a talent for a certain art will never learn it, no matter how much hard work they put in. And I feel like that is like one of the core themes I want to get across. And I don't do that in every piece, but I'm noticing that in all of these Hive Swap stories and in this Saga Frontier, and these are two very different series, anytime you get into themes of luck, fortune, hustle, work, all of these things always get back to this core message. So I feel like I'm going to have to go through the entire list again and try to see how these pieces would, again, go through under this kind of grace hard work. I think the ones that I said were like hustle culture and burnout and selling out and all these definitely fit in terms of this scale, right? And we can definitely see like her imperious condescension is on the hard work hustle, and I think a lot of these characters are, and what makes them complex is when the psionic says he can just keep working and keep working, he burns out for it. Like that's the consequence of not realizing that there are limits. And so I'll need to do another think about that one, because it's clearly a theme that's coming through, but we'll need to think about how to organize these. Okay, so with that, I think we can kind of go back to putting that there. That's already very illuminative. So let me go to now Vampire Killer. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say as a result of this is a lot of people say that your niche is based off of things about the music, right? So it's your genre. So if you play jazz, then your audience, your target audience is everyone who listens to jazz. Like if they listen to jazz, and they listen to you. And you need to pick a consistent genre so that your audience will know what to expect from the music. And obviously that was like my first like foray into electronic dance music for a contest, mind you. So it's very different than what I normally do. But as a result, it means that I can't necessarily say that I have a consistent music genre. And so the target of what I am doing can't be just if you like this style of music, because I don't know what my genre is, right? I don't have a consistent genre. But I still think that the core themes, I think it's a story. That's what I think is the core themes that are consistent across all of these. Let's see if we can find core themes in Castlevania Vampire Hunter. Let's see if I can find this. Okay, that was fun. I had to study the entire history of the Castlevania series, which is the plot is wild. Let's put it that way. And so I think that what this allows us to do, since I've done this for you guys, is we could spell out that there's like this whole like interconnected relationship between the Belmont family and vampires. And so I'm just gonna say, like, they're right on the edge, right? Um, Belmont and Dracula family. Let me put it that way. So you have Alucard, who's a vampire, who's like a hero because one of the Belmonts, because the villain, but the Belmonts, like when they're heroes, they're still distrusted by society because they have the same power as the So totally blurring the lines makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. And then the church eventually decides that they should create their own vampire hunters. I think that's like a game order of ecclesia or something like that, which is like, why didn't they do that from the beginning? You'd expect that the church would be fighting vampires, but takes them several games to do that. So that is that one. Good deal. Um, oh, with that, I can go back to here are the fun ones. We're gonna get into Tactics Ogre now. Tactics Ogre, game that you guys should be playing, but you aren't. So I'm just gonna say something. Um, earlier we discussed that one of the, you know, the triad of tropes is Draco in leather pants. And they have this guy, you know, Sephiroth, Final Fantasy VII, right? And I'm just going to say that if you have a guy that looks like this, he's going to become one of those, I guess what they call them, Tumblr sexy men. And he's going to become Draco in leather pants. So now I want you to see this guy. Lands. Compare. Contrast. Compare. Contrast. So yes, Lands T is our Draco in leather pants. He is absolutely the villain. Like all those scenes of villages being burnt and all that kind of stuff. Definitely that was him. And yet, I every time I go, I just have to like try to say like, you know, what was his motivation? Like, why did he do it? That sort of thing. So we're gonna make we're gonna put him Lands Tartaros as a Draco in leather pants right there. And basically every time you see me do a Tactics Ogre thing, I mean, it's gonna be that. Like, I'd be surprised if I didn't. Okay, so we're gonna skip the Undertale because again, it was before the time of cover stories, before the era of cover stories. Final Spice. Yeah, we'll do this one. Yeah, let's do this one. Let's do this one. Okay, let me close out that one. Okay. That's crazy. This is crazy. I am an insane person. So okay, so the this is going to be definitely like an NPC ensemble dark horse, and the NPCs are Toby Fox and James Roach. This is actually a meta analysis of two composers co-composing the soundtrack for High Swap, and how they like took different takes on the same song. And then I used that as a bouncing point to um, comment on um, what is it? Comment on uh, non-violent video game mechanics. And this allows me to like link to a bunch of Toby Fox stuff like Undertale and so on and so forth. And even got in a Toby Fox Apple disaster reference there. Absolutely unhinged. Wow, amazing. And the sad thing is like how does no one's gonna get all the references? Like they're just not. So what am I even doing? So um I guess this is why I have three viewers, because I'm a madman. Fun times. Fun times. Okay, so then I think this Song of Storms is actually going to be one with the story. Let's see what I do for this one. Cloud of the sky, teardrops are there, I wonder as there comes, and hear the wind every now and again. The sky is lament, yeah, there was a little period of time, like a period of like a few covers, not all of them. I kind of like moved away from that, where I would do like not full lyrics, but partial lyrics at the end, right? So you have to listen to the end to get the little partial lyrics, and like the lyrics would still go along with the song. But like, this is interesting. So here, another ensemble dark horse. The challenge was, can I take an extremely popular, often covered piece of music in the video game canon and turn it into something different? And so Song of Storms, like everyone has covered Song of Storms, and it would be no fun if I just did it like everyone else. So I mashed it up with a different piece, a Hauschka piece. In fact, if I could get over to there, I think I do quote it. Shayna's Mag. Okay, I can't pronounce German. It means like young girl. I think that's what it means. Young woman, something like that. And so I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. But blended those together, and I think it came out pretty well. And so you could see in the description the correct spelling of that. I am not gonna try to pronounce it again. German speakers will laugh at me. They will cringe. They will cry. So I'll say you can read it. Great piece. Much less known, I think, for the video game audience. So I decided to do a little mashup of those. And so what we're gonna say here is the main character here is the anthropomorphication of the weather. It is literally evoking the Song of Storms through a story that brings the skies to tears through its beauty and its whatever. So not sure if I could ever pull that off in reality. This was also another period of my music when I would make myself the protagonist. So it's me in the game trying to, like, if you didn't have Link and you didn't have the ocarina, you didn't have that, could you or me or any of us in the game use our own real life talents to do these types of things? And so that's the idea of that one. Didn't do that for a lot of the games, but I thought it was a really fun and interesting thing to explore. So let me get back, and we have marked that. We're not going to get through all of these because we're at 44, and even this is with skipping, and I have to get all the way down to 306. So what I'm actually going to do is, I think it'd be very fun because I know I'm gonna have to. Oh, I already saw some that's not a cover. I saw like a Crystal Castle one. That's not going to be a cover for sure. I am going to force you guys to watch one that I really think you should have watched, but it's at the bottom of the list because it has the lowest views, because it's the newest one. And so I'm going to go ahead and listen to it now to force you guys to watch it.
Strong and bold you are, you're not invincible. All the prayers cast to gods of old will do nothing against the cold. I wake up, gear up, prepare to face the wilderness. With my power, my wits, for a dozen years of experience. It's not for myself I strive, yet it's crucial that I win. For the sake of the village I defend, I preserve, protect, defend them without any thanks. The children fear me as scarier than the outside foes. But if I purpose fades, like wood replaced with gold. When the next winter comes, will you be all alone? How strong and bold you are, you're not invincible. Warriors casting gold, nothing is more cold. I will serve this role. Then came a fall I was supposed to beat. How can one face an endless nightmare? A stranger shipwrecked upon the shore at the edge of town. He became the curiosity of the mall. They said he was a dream walker who could save you from yourself. But he had not a day's experience. But he learned the art of his people like fish learn to swim. And the village had no need for my skills anymore. What broke me was when the coal mine collapsed. It was sabotage. In hubris they went too far, breaking into the wilderness. Could this tragedy have been avoided with fear-inspired caution? How strong and bold you are, you're not invincible. Oh, but I can give you endless power untold. If you'll give me just your soul, I will serve this role.
Okay. So as I said in one of the, I think it was maybe even the immediate last one, now I can't go back directly because I've skipped half the table. No, not the immediate last one. Yeah, no, I guess, yeah. These ones were part of an era that had little bits of lyrics at the end. And I think you'll have seen that in a few of these other ones. Like, I think, did we go through the Moonstruck Blossom? That had lyrics at the end, but not throughout the full piece. And so this one, which is the most recent one, full lyrics. So a lot of my recent ones are full lyrics. Not all of them. Some of them don't have full lyrics. But that means the story, like, you don't have to read it. Or actually, you can read it and you can listen to it. And so this is a theme that I've been exploring a lot. I'm going to actually, if I switch over here, Klein is a character who, the main character is Alundra. This is obviously not from Alundra's side of the story. This is from Klein's side of the story. And so Klein is actually an interesting character to me because he is definitely one of those, this person has less than 5 lines. What's going on? And yet his nightmare, which is, the dungeons are nightmares basically, is one that gets its own theme. And I'm like, okay, how does this guy who you talk to less than 5 times in the game get his own nightmare theme? Like, what's going on? And he is one of like a couple of characters who going into their night. Well, I'm not going to say a couple of characters. There's a lot of characters who don't survive, but going into their nightmare and defeating the big bad in the nightmare doesn't actually go according to plan, right? And so I wanted to explore. He ends up becoming, spoiler warning, a minor villain, but it's because he's possessed, I guess. And so I wanted to explore what could possess someone, what could drive them to become possessed. And normally this is some sort of self-doubt, some sort of, unexamined shadow side that they then kind of feed into because they won't confront and they won't they won't accept. And so for this, it's of the very few lines that you have from Klein, you get the sense that he has been the village's protector, but with the arrival of this new guy, Alundra, they don't need him anymore. And so there's one part of the game where there's like a coal mine that like gets sabotaged. And he says to Alundra, are you going to do anything about this? If you don't, I will. And of course, you're the main character, Alundra, so you have to do something. And so this kind of threat is there's nothing that's to it. And so it's a kind of a throwaway line, but I have to imagine that if Alundra weren't there, he would be the person who would be solving all of these ills from the villagers. But there's one thing that Alundra can do that no one else can do, and therefore Klein cannot do, and that is go into people's dreams, go into people's nightmares, and beat up their subconsciouses, I guess. And so the introduction and the fact that Alundra is a game where all of these villagers are being affected by these nightmares kind of represents the fact that Klein is becoming irrelevant. His physical prowess to save the people from the wilderness, from the physical foes that they face, are not enough to help them from their more psychological challenges. So with that, we can put Klein on our he's an NPC, but he's also a villain, but I'm going to say he's Draco in leather pants. I'm going to put Klein right here. And so we're going to go to my most manic, crazy one that none of you guys watched. And so I'm going to force you guys to watch it. Two trains travel side by side. This is not going to make any sense. I'm going to have to explain it. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic.
Curiosity, make the whole wide world seem close to me. Bring me the tales and the goods and all the foreign philosophy. Teach me a new way to see. Excavate our past, archaeology. Give me a hope and a drive to rethink our ideology. You recall technology, improving our world's life expectancy, threatening to overthrow the church and the priests. What about the monarchy? Can we not question religion? Use the power to be governed by constitutions and liberty. I must confide, I'm terrified. This train we ride, it will collide. The progress that's breaking out. Soon we will see an age of supremacy. On the world stage, we're at the precipice of social change. With a new age, brought by the third countries out of range. Engine of supremacy, may the empire stretch for totality, may the world be bathed in baptism now, new rationality, touch the unwashed mass sea, bring to the age of modernity, make it seem so great and grand that they accept voluntarily. Devilish psychology, propagating old inequalities, threatening to overthrow the dream of a just society. subversive hierarchy. It's Electro personally. Dependable, free market guide those to deserve ability. And so inside, two trains reside. Good and ill stride, both side by side.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Vandal Hearts 2. Okay, so Vandal Hearts 2, this is like going way back. Like, so part of why doing covers based on nostalgia is that people's nostalgia can be very weird. It depends on what games they played, what they remember from their childhood, and different people can have different histories. And Vandal Hearts 2 is something that I only discovered because I was like, I don't know, not a preteen maybe, and I had visited my cousin's house, and I saw them playing it, and I didn't know what it was, but I was like, trying to figure out like what is this game, and like I saw a skill that they had used in the game, and like for years I couldn't find it again, and then I basically scoured every PlayStation tactical RPG because of seeing this isometric, and I was like, it's so cool. So I got into Tactics Ogre because I saw them play Vandal Hearts 2. I got into all of these types of games because of that. And it is actually, what I'll say is Vandal Hearts 2 and Tactics Ogre are both games that are trying to say things about social movements and the plight of different classes of people, different races of people, different, in these kinds of social conflicts. And the reason that, I mean, there's definitely more polish, I think, to Tactics Ogre, which is why I think it's a more popular game, although tactical RPGs are not anywhere near as popular. But Vandal Hearts 2 still had that. And the main thing I want to say, which we'll get into when we get into the next cover, French Wars of Religion, if it were whimsical musical number, is it starts out where everything is whimsical. You're kids. You're not aware of how rough and mean life is, and so you just want to go on an adventure. And you start seeing these things that you're thinking, "Wow, it's exciting! It's better than my boring rural provincial life." And your parents, the adults, are like, "No, you want to have a boring life because life sucks, and it's the medieval era, and you're peasants and boring. You don't want to have interesting times because that means bad stuff is going to happen." And so you become an adult and you're like a Vandal Hearts 2. Yay. But there are lots of things going on, right? So there's political revolution. There is a weird church cult. There is the society's understanding of itself is upended by a discovery from the past that completely changes what everyone thought about religion and politics and all these things. And there's schizotech. So this is a world that's like clearly like medieval peasant era, no guns, nothing like that. And yet they have trains, right? And so when I was doing this piece, Two Trains Travel Side by Side, instead of doing a story from the game itself, which 0% of you would like understand, I tried to say like what would be the closest analogy that I could give that could capture some of the themes and the spirits of the game while staying true to it. And honestly, this thing about the Industrial Revolution was it, in the sense of a society that is undergoing rapid change because of the advent of these technologies that completely upend the old feudal way of doing things, the social revolutions that it inspired. And so you kind of saw that kind of slideshow of not only the Industrial Revolution, but the political revolutions of the 18th and 19th centuries, and a lot of the bad stuff that happened as a result, right? So colonialism, imperialism, all of these things, because of these social revolutions. And all of that happens in Vandal Hearts 2. And that's crazy, right? Even the stuff about like reinventing your national identity through the advent of archaeology, that happens like in the game. Like it's, anyways. Now we're going to go into the French Voice of Religion, if it were a whimsical musical number, which seems like an absolutely insane title. But based on what I just said, I want to emphasize it's actually extremely thematically relevant to the game that you haven't played, Vandal Hearts 2. So with that, the French Voice of Religion, if it were a whimsical musical number.
And all the farmers are working till the day runs through, reaping, harvesting, counting, pace, and pay the government tax money due. Toil and trouble and pain, redouble the skin is burnt by rays of sun. It is destroyed to all the rest in this year 1561. All the peasants and all the farmers are working till the day runs through, reaping, harvesting, counting, pace, and pay the government tax money due. Toil and trouble and pain, redouble the skin is burnt by rays of sun. It is destroyed to all the rest in this year 1561. It's coming to town, some who brings a noble town, and now it's in for pleasure, rule, justification from the way they run. Will we see the cruelty that lies spent in noble's heart, the way the noble hope to go quickly from the village. It's coming to town, some who brings a noble town, and now it's in for pleasure, rule, justification from the way they run. Will we see the cruelty that lies within the noble's heart, the way the noble hope to go quickly from the village to the heart. Curiosity, I can't agree, I must be free. I long for more excitement in my blood, vigil, and the hero's tale of strife. I hope that we'll have something else to do in the next year of 1562. Calvinism has swept the country, seized the purses and powers that be. Teams were at the precipice of something that I can't foresee. Await the coming of what comes like the air is brimming with new energy. Spread it faster than a plague, right for heresy. Calvinism has swept the country, seized the purses and powers that be. Teams were at the precipice of something that I can't foresee. Await the coming of what comes like the air is brimming with new energy. I can't agree, I must be free. I forge my path in this chaotic life, seeking justice throughout all of this strife. I hope we'll find a way to make it right. I live to see 1572.
So this is a cover of the piece from Vandal Hearts 2 called Warfare on a Plane. And I would definitely say if you're like, oh, the lyrics were too much, definitely listen to the instrumental, the original version. Like it's just such a fun and bombastic and innocent piece. And I think that this is actually very thematically relevant. While I wouldn't say that the music of Vandal Hearts 2 is fully set with particular scenes, like you can definitely like go back to other stages and like get music to play again. Generally, when Warfare on a Plane, like so Warfare on a Plane would play anytime you're on a plane, right? Okay, cool. You know, and most of the themes are named after the environment that you're going to be on. Where you're typically going to hear Warfare on a Plane is very early on when the main character is a child. And, I think like they are equipped with like something called like salt swords or something like that. And it's very clear that like you use salt swords because there's like these slimes around, and slimes, shrivel and die with salt. So it's clearly not a weapon that's for use against people. It's a weapon used for like slime monsters. And so the main characters are like, ooh, this knight guy came and he's gotten hurt and he didn't know that you fight slimes with salt swords or whatever. And to them, they're little kids, like all they think about is like slimes and the creatures of the plains and the forest. And in that first chapter, you as the main characters, I'm trying to think, you don't ever have to fight a human until there is a bit of a twist at the end of chapter 1, which is like the end of childhood, basically. And so the main character is the innocent boy, the provincial peasant from 1561 who wants life to be more exciting. But he doesn't know what's coming in 1562 is a war of religion where the nobles and all of these different religious forces are going to come and totally wreck everything. And once that happens, he's going to wish that he could make it through. This is extremely relevant for Vandal Hearts 2. Obviously, the religion isn't Calvinism or Catholicism in Vandal Hearts 2. And I guess both religions would be very upset and offended if I tried to actually, don't think too much about it. The religion of Vandal Hearts 2 is not supposed to be a real life religion. And, it's definitely a fantasy game. But instead of like actually going through the game plot, which like, again, very few people have done, I wanted to experiment with making it something like a comparison to real world. The other thing I'll say is this is definitely something which has shown me as a musician that sometimes I have ideas that I do not have the skill to implement. And in this case, it's the song is too fast to actually sing appropriately. So I struggled a lot with that. And I also frequently want to do kind of like where different characters are singing different things. I've like heard that in different musicals, but I've never been able to figure out whenever you actually hear it in the song, it just becomes muddled. And so I would definitely say if you're going to listen to this, listen to it with the closed captions, with the captions, because then you can read rather than listening for, sometimes it's not always clear to hear. So that is that. I do need to put this on our map. So if I go back to my second screen here, we're going to say here that these are NPCs, I think. And these are going to be concepts again. Industrial Revolution. I mean, I'm not even going to say that. That's too much. I'm going to say it is social change. Social change is the theme of these, of which, the Industrial Revolution and the French Wars of Religion are just a couple of examples. So it's not really the main character. It's social change. That's the main character. I'm going to skip some of these. I know. We had a cover contest or a contest, which was like making sure that you don't do the most popular pieces. And so that's why there's this hashtag Stop Nintendo. Undertale and Nintendo most commonly covered games. And so I was like, oh, we're going to go in a game of who can do the most obscure cover now. I will win this. And so here is a piece from Roland's Curse 2 that I liked, but I am fairly sure that literally 0 people have played this game. I feel super bad because during that piece, I was trying to like Google to like refresh myself, and I'm like, I realized I do not remember what this game was about at all. I do not remember what this game was about at all. So even though there's a story, I can't opine on where this goes. So I'm gonna have to come back to that. Let me make a different color for that. Come back to that. But what I will say is, you know, we had this where it was sorted by most views to least views, and we script down to the least viewed ones. This definitely represents most of my least viewed pieces are the newest ones. So maybe it's like, oh, with time they'll get more, but this is like actually like, nope, it's just very low views. It's from 2016. So then we'll go to another recent one that is full lyrics, partners theme from Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. This is one of like ones I'm really proud of, as well as the Client's Nightmare, because I feel like maybe it's good to be proud of your newer stuff, like, because that means you're always progressing.
Have you ever felt destined for something more? There's just something about you I've been longing for. From the moment we first met, I thought, have we met before? A memory buried in my core. You were just someone that I could not ignore, but I could not figure out what it was I adored. As we spent more time together, with the ruse of seeing every shore, I hope you can forgive me. It was you, not this world, I want to explore. I want to
understand how you can see beyond all of my flaws.
That have pushed others away. I understand how, though I can be obnoxious and immature, you always commit to stay. Though I pretend to be strong, self-doubt tells me I am wrong. Am I worth it? Worth it to you? Worth it to anyone? When darkness clouds my mind, your smile helps me find a way to be kind with the shadows that are deep intertwined. Some believe that the sunshine casts the dark away. In truth, shadows are always part of every day. This is the way. As we journey, one thing I have thought about: every place we go, helping others, and all throughout. Most problems that we face end up as fear misplaced, that surely they won't treat me with grace. Even what appears the most malicious foe has within an explanation that we yet don't know. As we build about connections, knitting bonds across the whole wide world, the truth of our own goodness seems to lurk oft forgotten in our shadow. I want to understand how you can see beyond all of my flaws that have pushed others away. Understand how, though I can be obnoxious and immature, you always commit to stay. I'm learning I have been wrong about our worth all along. We're all
clouds my mind. Your smile helps me find a way to define.
Shadows that are deep reject and run from what we should have kept close by. When we chased for the sunlight, it was an escape. But now that I accept my dark side, we're okay to fade away.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that I have added a new little tile on my, OneNote here, and it is called the need for shadow work. Basically, the idea is that a lot of these characters get into difficulty because they have this shadow side that they're too busy rejecting, and that causes issues, right? Like you can't just reject; you have to understand and accept, and then synthesize, that sort of thing. And so we already had Alundra, client stream, right? Like if you can accept your own, I don't know, irrelevance, not irrelevance, it's okay to not always be the main protector. That's fine, right? You didn't have to go crazy about it. And then DDD, everything about DDD, basically. And then finally, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. So the thought I had here, let me try to not spoil Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon for you. Although, let me just say, the Super Mystery Dungeon games are wild. So the basic plot point of all of them is humans have gone extinct. And so, but occasionally a human is brought from the past and put into the present, a world fully of Pokemon, and the human is converted and transformed into a Pokemon to do something to save that world from, catastrophe. So first of all, big fan of cutesy video games that are post-apocalyptic. So that's Kirby, that's Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. I haven't done Splatoon yet, but Splatoon is there. But then, okay, so how do I say this without spoiling it? Let me give an analogy. So have you ever had intrusive thoughts and you're glad that you're not a psychic and that psychic powers aren't real? Because if you were, and if they were, then your intrusive thoughts would be devastating. So I don't know if it's me, but sometimes if I'm I think someone put it when they're in a tall building, they feel jumping off the roof or jumping off the ledge. And it's you're not going to jump off the ledge. You can't be forced to just because you have intrusive thoughts. It's just a thought that's in there. Well, what if you were psychic? And what if your intrusive thoughts did come true and did start wreaking havoc on the world? That is Pokemon Super Mystery. Shoot, I just spoiled it. I said there was going to be spoilers. Let me just put it. That is what it is. That is, you don't know it for most of the game, but that's what's happening. I haven't spoiled the entire game. I've spoiled a part of it, right? But you still are, there's so much that you haven't gotten there. And so yeah, if you were to have powers because you're a Pokemon with crazy psychic powers, then you probably should do your shadow work, because if you don't, everyone else is going to suffer because of your powers. Basically, that's the moral of the story. And so that's what this theme is about. So if we go back to our main leaderboard over here, let me go back to this. Shoot, how do I do this without spoiling? I'm going to just say that the partner is a Byronic hero. Partner. From Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. Good. And then I'm just gonna say, yes, the big bad is Draco and leather pants. And I'm just gonna say the big bad is darkness. That's all I'll say. You have to play the game or watch a playthrough to find out more. So hopefully everyone's not upset. I feel like I asked, when is it okay to spoil a game? Like, is it when it's so many years old? Like, when it's, if it's obscure but it's very old, is it okay? Like, what's the rule? I don't know what the rule. Okay, so if we go back to here, we can say, yep, I was good. I did this. I feel like this is a good one. I like it, but I'm not gonna do these ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna pick some randomly, basically. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Which one am I gonna do? I'm going to do the Mermaid Legend. This is one of my favorites. We're going back to Tactics Ogre here. Let me just go ahead and do this one. Mermaid Legend.
Exiled from her kind for a betrayal. To that sea she hides so none may slay her. She, our golden scales lived for 400 years. Seas of the Isle breeze her through her tears. There will never be a different story. Every time the wheel turns, it turns all the same. The folly of every man, woman, fae, angel, or demon. Maybe we can change fate if our intentions are good enough. Give us just a chance, another chance to make the world into a beautiful place. For God's There will never be a different story. Every time the wheel turns, it turns all the same. The same. Every time it's the same.
Okay, so the Mermaid Legend. Let me say, how do I say this? Classic Romeo and Juliet love story, I guess, where the love is forbidden and both sides cannot bear that the couple would be together, and so the couple goes away, and Romeo and Juliet is like a tragedy. Okay, great, whatever. With this, what do I want to say here? The main thing here is that the mermaid here is not a main character of Tactics Ogre Knight of Lotus. They're definitely in the, this character has 5 lines, that sort of thing. So the main thing I want to say is we're definitely in ensemble Dark Horse territory. A whole fandom on their knees by producing a mountain of content for a character that has less than 5 lines of dialogue. That is that. The mermaid with the golden scales is named Berevra. So we can go on our leaderboard, our whatever here, and we could say Ensemble Dark Horse is Barevra Mermaid. So you don't even need to play the game. You can still understand this on the one on the left. That's great. Great. Okay, so um, with that, what do I want to do next? I like skipped a lot of these. Now I'm literally just doing the ones that I want to do for fun, basically. This one is actually a no. This is an April Fool's Day joke. I should do a full version of this, but I haven't. So that's actually gonna. We don't need to worry about that. I am going to one of these. They're the Live Alive ones. I do like. Let me see if I can get one that I like the most. I'm going to go and pick one from in the middle of this. And I think I'm going to end this pretty soon. I think I'll still maybe do another one of these. I think even though I haven't been responding to everything in the chat, I've been like glancing over occasionally. I'm still trying to figure out this live streaming thing. And so I do like what is being written. I'm kind of commenting, every once in a while, but not fully. I'm going to do this one, Ikenfell. It's an indie game that a lot of you did not play or know about. And, I just like whenever there's an indie game that I'm really excited for, I always like wonder, is this going to be the one that like blows up and becomes super popular? Like the Undertales, like the Deltarunes, like the Amoris, or is this going to be one that like doesn't get the traffic? And I never know which one it's going to be, but I still did one for Ikenfell. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one be our next one. Let me go ahead and bring in here and then bring in the face and then let's go. Okay, so really liked what I was doing there. I can't. I guess it shouldn't be like, oh, I like what I'm doing there. Like, of course I would. So let me try to see if I can get over to my other screen. Okay, so I have added them to the need for shadow work, and that's because this piece actually had two subjects. One is the person presenting this, the person who is presenting the research into the faculty of Ikenfeld about the nature of magic. And then the other is the subject of that research, the magician who has sponsored the Rose magic paradigm. And so to put this here, the person who's doing the research actually is a character from the game, but she gets like 3 lines. So that's Mariveau. And then the person who the research is about, the headmistress, she becomes a little bit of a villain. And it's for the things that are investigated in this piece. One of the things I really liked about Ikenfeld, which I don't think was intentional, right? But I decided to run with it, is the diversity of characters. Like, I don't think there is like a single cis het person in that game. And I mean, it's very LGBT. Like, let's put it out that way. And so that's why I kind of did that exploration of what if that is just a way for these different creativity and arts and that sort of thing to manifest, as, you know, for the straight people, it's having children and that sort of thing. And then for the LGBTs, it's all of these different paradigms of magic. You know, not to be serious. I think I like even say, oh, this isn't for real, but like it would make sense. Each character has a different paradigm. So that kind of explains why every character's magic is different. And the main idea of the game is that it feels like there's new types of magic that are only starting to appear, that have never really been seen. And so without spoiling the game, like, this is very relevant. Like, they're entering a new era and they need these other magical paradigms to carry them forward. So I wanted to explore the idea of one's way of thinking, kind of putting blinders on their ability to think in any other way. And so if you've built an entire school around one way of thinking that was spring and summer and, you know, flourishing roses, that sort of thing, then you may not be ready for winter and fall, which requires something a little more toned down, something a little more, you need fire, you need warmth, you need to get in touch with, you know, death and decay, things like that. But when all you know is life and vibrancy and spring and summertime, then you're going to see all of those other things as a threat that must be suppressed, that must be defeated rather than embraced. And so, long story short, the Rose Mage Eldra, she may not, because of her paradigm, have the ability to confront all of the different aspects of the world that they live in, right? And so that exploration is up to other characters to do. So I really like that idea, and that's why I think that it also relates to shadow work. It's not, you can just have these things and ignore the rest. You have to integrate all of them. So somehow I think, and I think I'm going to end this. I know that this has been going on for a few hours now, but it feels like we started out with kind of these three different kind of groupings of the Byronic hero, Draco in leather pants, and the ensemble Dark Horse, which is the kind of the NPC. And if I kind of go over, it feels like I'm mostly on the Draco in leather pants and on the NPC ensemble Dark Horse. But throughout this exploration, it's shown me that there's a few other angles of themes that are appearing in a lot of these that I should be looking out for. One is this grace, gift, talent, you know, and then the other is this hard work, hustle. I can put in practice as well. And then the final one, I think, is the need for shadow work and the consequences that happen to oneself and to one's, you know, environment when one is not paying attention to that. So with that, I think I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna save this file down so I can keep working on this in the future. I'm not going to save this right here. You don't need to see my files. But I will save this, and maybe I'll do another stream like this to go through some of these other pieces. But I encourage you guys now to go through all of these videos, and even the ones that I didn't get to, because you don't need to know the game to still appreciate these themes. That is the point. Now, all I need to do is figure out how I can package all this together so I can convince the person who is not yet aware of the channel that even if they're not familiar with the game, that if they like these types of themes and these types of things discussed, then they should watch my channel. Still a work in progress, but it's given me a few more things to work on that I can then build into how I approach new covers and new stories in the future. So thanks so much to everyone who joined for any amount of time. And for those in the comments, I'll be reading those after the session, since I didn't have enough monitors to kind of do all of that. And I guess I'll see you guys whenever I get around to making another video.